Now, we all know this day comes with pressure to have the perfect date and the perfect intimate night. And if you're choosing not to buy into it, that's okay. It's okay to do nothing. But if you do want to tap into your sexy side this Valentine's Day, our next segment is for you. Sex and relationship expert Dr. Jess O'Reilly is here to share some meaningful ways to create a memorable, intimate experience. And Dr. Jess, let's just start with this. Why do we put so much pressure on ourselves to have the best sex of our lives on this one night?
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say I'm a sexologist, and I don't. I don't care if I do it that day or do it that week. I don't know. How do you feel? Do you feel like one day matters so much?
No, not at all. And we do like a big family Valentine's Day, so it's not about that one day. I'm way more invested in all the other days of my marriage, for sure.
That's really the way to do it, right? It's not about grand gestures once a year. Really, if you can invest a minute a day all throughout the year, you'll be so much better off. And I love that you celebrate with the whole family, because when you think about it, my first Valentine's card would have come from my mom. She's the one who bought me chocolates when I was little. That's where the love began.
And it should be the sort of love that can transcend. It doesn't have to be romantic, erotic, but we are going to talk a little bit about erotic love. And you say that the emotional erotic connection is actually key to communication and sex. Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yes. So this is such an important concept, 365 days a year. Not that you need to have sex 365 days a year, but just to understand your core erotic feeling and your elevated erotic feeling. So your core erotic feeling is the emotion that you need to experience in order to get in the mood for sex. We often think about what we want to do or what we want our partner to do instead of thinking about how we want to feel. So if you can figure out how you want to feel rather than what you want to do, it can be really helpful to understand your own erotic script and explain your needs more clearly and effectively to a partner.
Oh, really interesting. Okay, so I want to know this. Do we all have different core erotic feelings? Is it sort of like the love languages, where you can take a quiz to find out what's the thing that gets you going?
Well, I would say, because this is like my concept, I see it as more nuanced and varied than the love languages. So I think the love languages are a good place to start the conversation, but I don't think we always fit into rigid categories. So your core erotic feeling can be any feeling. You might need to feel loved. You might need to feel relaxed, understood, appreciated, sexy, desired. And then for other people, they might associate erotic connection or comfort with a sense of challenge, right? They may only be in the mood when there's a sense of risk. So everybody is different.
Okay, so how do you know what your core erotic feeling is so that you can tap into that?
Okay, so that's the big question. Start by asking yourself how you need to feel before, during, and after sex. Think about a fantasy that really works for you and ask yourself how you felt in that scenario. So if other people are in your scenario, how are they talking to you? How are they looking at you? What emotion underpins the fantasy? Same thing when you watch TV and you see something that kind of, gets you going a little bit, what feeling jumps out? So for example, okay, you may find that when you're fantasizing or you're watching TV, what you're really reacting to is the way someone looks at you or adores you. So maybe your core erotic feeling is that you want to be wanted or adored, or maybe your fantasies are always about an escape from reality, right? Really blocking out the everyday pressures and stresses and the mundane. So maybe what you really need to feel is relaxed and removed from things that are either boring or stressful, or maybe your fantasies allow you to be someone a little bit different than yourself. Maybe you're a little bit more confident in those fantasies, then perhaps confidence is your core erotic feeling.
I love it. Okay, so and this is your body of work, Dr. Jess, which I think is so cool. So once you identify your CEF or your core erotic feeling, what do you do?
When we think about it, we often think about how we want our partner to make us feel, right? But really, it's really about how you make yourself feel. So if you need to feel sexy and desired, you need to make the lifestyle changes so that you can feel that. If you need to feel confident, if you need to feel relaxed, it's really, I always use the kind of 80-20 rule where it's on you. 80% of this is you make yourself feel that way. And then 20% you can ask a partner to support you. And I don't, in all of this discussion about, personal responsibility for feelings, I don't want to discount the fact that feeling certain ways it's easier for some of us than others because of privilege, because of systemic oppression. So it's not as simple as tell yourself you're beautiful. Well, if you fit into Eurocentric norms of beauty, it might be easy to do that. So I don't want to dismiss that and say, oh, you just need to tell yourself, you need to like manifest it. It's not like that. We all need to put in the work and also acknowledge that there are barriers that certain people face that others don't.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for adding that in because that nuance is important. Now, you also talk about elevated erotic feelings. What's that all about?
Yes. Okay. Every time I smile is when these things want to pop out. So I'll try not to smile too much, but I'm so smiley over the erotic feelings that are elevated because once you figure out your core erotic feeling, you can make yourself feel more of it. You might even feel that way all the time. Okay. And that doesn't mean you're always going to be in the mood though. Feeling your core erotic feeling isn't a guarantee. It's just a requirement. So it can actually get boring to always feel your core erotic feeling. And that's when we tap into our elevated erotic feelings. Those are the feelings that take the experience to the next level. And for many of us, and this isn't universally true, but often I observe that core erotic feeling, the one that gets you in the mood, is rooted in safety. And the elevated erotic feeling is often rooted in risk and the subversive. So this is why people can be excited by, a little bit of kink, a little bit of pain, a little bit of even humiliation. Jealousy can be a turn on. That doesn't mean we want to feel those overwhelmingly negative emotions in the relationship or outside the bedroom, but in the context of a loving, caring, safe relationship with yourself or with another person or people, you can play with those emotions. And that's how sex can stay exciting for a lifetime.
Thank you for adding the brain part into sex because that is such an important part of the whole equation and the act and everything about it. Thank you, Dr. Jess.